Hi, this is Mark News from Plant Talk Radio. Thanks for subscribing and listening to our podcast, Your Gardening Questions from Plant Talk Radio. To keep this podcast free, we're partnering with Stoke Seeds. Indoor seed starting is fun, easy, and economical. Now's the time to start your seeds. If you're looking to grow vegetable variety or add a punch of color to your flower garden, review the Stoke Seeds Starting Guide online. You'll find information about soil preparation, moisture, temperature, light, transplanting, and more. The Stoke Seeds website is a complete resource center you need to make your garden the envy of the neighborhood. Get growing with Stokes. Now, today's question.
Hi, Terry. How can we help you?
I was concerned because some of my spring bulbs, the bulb itself is coming up out of the ground and growing.
Okay, now let me make sure I have the right mental picture. The fat part that you planted is literally now sitting on top of the ground?
Yes.
Okay. Unusual, but at the same time, you've either had a considerable amount of erosion in that area, or there is this thing that I mentioned from time to time, frost heaving. Now, in that they're up and doing their thing, well, you're going to have to test them a little bit. If there are roots under the bulb still in the soil, you have two options. One would be to use a bulb planter type of instrument and go down around it, lift not only the bulb, but the rootlets that are at the base of this, and hopefully a couple inches of soil, and then literally replant at the point where the bottom of the bulb will be 2 inches underground, put some fresh soil over the top and so on, and go from there. Now, even if you do totally understand me, even if you do wish to do this, don't do it right now. It's too sloppy wet, at least in most places. But in the several days that come along, hopefully, and dries down where you can actually expect to hold some soil onto those roots, you've got a fighting chance of making it happen. They obviously were in the ground. They got matured. They had the rootlets down over the fall, early winter period, sat dormant, and now away they go. Count your blessings in a way. If you have to, prop them up, enjoy the flower, and then after they have matured, assuming now that the roots are still in the ground, after they have matured, the stems yellowed down and so on, then go ahead and lift the entire bulb. Don't worry too much about taking root with it. Well, there's a couple of reasons for that, but at the same time, just go ahead, lift them, either store them dry in the garage or basement, preferably, or go ahead and plant them right then and just start them over again is what it boils down to.
Several people that I know are having the same problem. This is the grape hyacinth are doing that.
Well, grape hyacinths are infamous for doing that. They naturalize way beyond what people like at times, and then they want to live. I mean, that's just, if you could put a mind in a plant, grape hyacinth is one of those that just demands space. I have been so careless, if you want to look at it that way, to have literally pulled some grape hyacinth from where they are along about this time of the year, lifted them, taken them over elsewhere. I use the bulb planter, just kind of take a chunk of soil out of the way, drop the bulb in, well, bottom end down, of course, and they will, I would say they probably get 60% of them to come along. They're real fighters.
Yeah, they are.
Now, I'm going to ask, what part of the state do you live in?
I live just a little bit north of New Philadelphia and Dover. Okay.
Well, let's just say it's almost straight east of us. I'm going to say that my projections are probably right. Those, well, there's not much difference between what you would need to do regardless of where you are. But I'd say your chances are pretty good for waiting this rain out. Soon as the soil is dried down enough, I'd go ahead and give them a try. Because if you don't, the other option would be, if you can, leave them where they are, bring in some fresh soil, 2-3 inches, whatever it takes, put it around them, and let them just kind of settle in again. But going back to bulb planting, you usually put them in the ground 2.5 to 3 times as deep as they are tall. So taking a tulip,
Right, and I did.
okay. Well, I'm amazed then that you have that much erosion, or are these extremely old bulbs in that spot?
No, they were brand new bulbs.
I wonder, you must be losing.
I think maybe erosion.
Okay.
I think the ground has settled a lot.
Okay, and
Because
that
of the wet,
Yeah.
I think it's down.
well, I don't know how you're going to slow it down particularly, and certainly not at this point. But you're up against a challenge at this time, in that they're new bulbs. I'm going to say is probably a slightly improved chance that you'll be successful in resetting them. I think in that they're new and they have come into bloom and so on, or are coming. I would be inclined to, if anything, prop them up a little bit, if, anywhere from, twigs to whatever that holds them kind of upright, so that they get leaves on up past the bloom and get enough sunshine to remanufacture themselves. Then I just go ahead and replant them.
Thanks again for listening to the podcast. Remember, lose the winter blues and garden indoors. Start your indoor seeding with the help of Stokes Gardening Guide, plus their online articles. For the best selection of vegetable, flower, and herb seeds available, go to stokeseeds.com. Catalogs are still available. Cultivating successful growers for generations.